Welcome to another edition of Counselor's Corner. I'm Jeremy Counseller, Dean of Baylor Law School, and I am pleased today to be joined by Sheldon
Furqueron.
I knew I was going to mess that up. So, Sheldon, welcome. You are a 3L third-year law student now.
Yes, sir.
All right. Can you just sort of, in 3 or 4 sentences, summarize this law school journey? Because I would imagine at this point, it seems to have gone by quickly, or has it not?
It has gone by very, very quickly. I can't believe I started at Baylor Law almost not quite even 2 years ago. It's been challenging in a really good way, though. I know that I have grown a lot during my time here at Baylor thus far, and excited to see how I continue to grow in my last year.
Okay, tell us where you're from originally.
I'm from Tyler, Texas.
Tyler, Texas. Tell us about Tyler.
Tyler is such a great place to grow up. You know, some call it the capital of East Texas.
Just the good people.
Oh yeah, there's lots to do in Tyler. It's lots of availability, lots of ways to get involved, still having that kind of small town East Texas feel.
Mm-hmm. So you, as I understand, were a Baylor undergraduate.
Yes, sir.
And then you come to Baylor Law School, and I'm wondering what your, perception of Baylor Law School was when you were an undergrad, and then how that's met reality now that you've been here for a couple of years.
Absolutely. When I was an undergrad, I thought of the law school as this kind of removed place for all the smart people. And the smart people cross the highway to go learn about the law. And as I've gotten to know, the law school in a more familiar way, I think that's certainly true. I mean, there's just a lot of knowledge and intellect over here on the other side of the highway.
So what advice would you give or perspective would you give to Baylor undergrads who are thinking about maybe going to Baylor Law School? What would you tell them?
Absolutely do it. You grow to love Baylor and to love Waco even more than maybe you did in undergrad. I know that was certainly my experience.
Tell me about that. Why do you grow to love Waco more?
Waco is so charming, and I think that the longer you're here, the more you kind of realize all the different things that Waco has to offer. It's not just Baylor in Waco. It's all of the local coffee shops and the churches and people who live in Waco. There's just so much more to offer than I definitely realized in undergrad. And
I think I've been here for over 20 years, and I think it's gotten better in the last 5 years, I would say, in particular. It's got the right, in my view, it's got the right balance of everything you need, but still having the small town feel.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, last summer, you and I were in Scotland for the Academy of the Advocate, our study abroad program in Scotland. Tell me what that was like for you.
Oh, it was absolutely fantastic. I didn't have the opportunity to study abroad in undergrad, so that was something that was really intriguing to me when deciding on a law school. And I think Baylor is one of the only law schools that does a program like that. So went over to Scotland for 2 weeks. I was in the School of the Appeal. There are 3 different schools: the School of the Appeal, the School of the Trial, and the Advanced School of the Trial. So I got to do really a deep dive into appellate work with some fantastic professors, some from Baylor, but some are practitioners and judges, and I mean, just incredible people to learn from. And I walked away from that experience knowing so much more about appellate advocacy and oral advocacy than I really had ever imagined.
Yeah. The program is definitely distinctive, and one of the things that makes it distinct is, as you mentioned, we have professors from different law schools and different areas of practice, but also students from different law schools. So it's a good mix of people. Did you do anything for fun outside of your classes?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're in St. Andrews, there's a beautiful golf course, and I can't say I'm a golfer, but just getting to walk along the golf course and enjoy the scenery and the beaches. And then we had a ceilidh dance, which is a traditional kind of Scottish tradition, and all your professors and your friends go along with you, and you have someone leading you through the dances. And I mean, that was probably a highlight of my trip.
The Kaylee is always a highlight.
Absolutely.
It's definitely my family's favorite part of the trip every year. Well, I'm glad you enjoy that, and you have also been involved here at the law school in our clinics, and I think it's the family law clinic and the estates clinic as well.
Sir.
Let's talk about the family law clinic only because it's new, and so you just tell us about the work that you've done in the family law clinic.
Absolutely. So once a month we have the family law clinic. It's kind of forefronted by Professor Stephanie Tang. She kind of sets everything up, and we have people from the Waco community that have real family law issues come and seek advice. And sometimes we're able to help them fill out paperwork like petitions, and really just can kind of be a listening ear for those people as well. Yeah.
Texas, like a lot of states, and it's a real priority of our Supreme Court, is access to justice is an issue. The accessibility of legal services, and so we're trying to do our small part to help out in that area. And the Family Law Clinic is off to a great start, helping a lot of people do some with some important work. Okay, as if that all is not enough, you are the executive editor of the Law Review. Okay, what is an executive editor?
Yes, sir. This is a position that I'm really honored to hold, and there are 4 or 5 of us executive editors on the Law Review. We work a lot with the internal student writing requirement. So most law reviews have the members of their law review write a note or a comment on a particular area of the law or an issue that may have recently arisen. And so the executive editors, kind of oversee that process with the students. We make sure that their issue hasn't been written on before, and that it is relevant and helpful for practitioners and judges. We just get to provide a lot of feedback on those articles and kind of oversee their development as the writing requirement advances.
Yeah, well, you're not bragging on yourself. That's a pretty high up position in the Law Review, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That's really good. The other thing that I want to highlight here is you got onto the Law Review because you wrote onto the Law Review. You basically you won a writing competition.
Yes, sir.
And so I want to talk to people who may be thinking about going to law school. I think we have listeners like that, and they may have heard of the Law Review, and they think, well, I've got to get a certain GPA to be on the Law Review. But there's actually another route, which is to write on to Law Review. So talk about that process.
Yeah, absolutely. The Law Review at Baylor, every year we host 2 different write-on competitions, and one is in the fall and one is in the spring. And about a year ago, last spring, I did the write-on competition. So I knew going into law school that the Law Review was going to be something that I really wanted to do. And, unfortunately, grades came back and I didn't quite make the cut for that GPA, and just decided that I was going to do the write-on competition. So that kind of looked like getting an email in my inbox one day that the write-on competition was starting, and you've got 2 weeks to write on a specific topic that the Law Review put out. And if you were in the top, 3 or 4 scoring students on that writing sample, then you were invited to join the Baylor Law Review.
Well, congratulations on that. And obviously, you've done great service on the Law Review, as evidenced by you being an executive editor. But the other thing about what you're saying is people often, appropriately, rightly, talk about doors opening, but sometimes you have to kick the door down.
Yes, sir.
You have to kick it down. And that was a door that didn't open for you one way, and so you found another way.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, kudos to you. That's fantastic. And because of your exceptional writing skills, you have been asked to serve on our competition moot court teams, including as a brief writer. And you were a brief writer, I believe, for Professor Sayers' ABA moot court team.
Yes, sir, I
He's
am.
a stickler for good writers, so he must have been impressed. Talk about what it means to be a brief writer on a moot court team, and what role the brief plays in the? It's a little bit different depending on the competition, but what role the brief plays in a moot court competition?
Sure. So the moot court competitions, they have a scored round over the brief, and so before you go to the competition, you're given a problem that's, again, over a relevant area of law. And, the oral advocates are busy preparing. How am I going to argue, one side and then the other side orally? But the brief writers have the position of writing the appellate brief. And there are lots of little technical details and rules that must be followed. So that's kind of a part of writing the brief, is making sure that you're following all of those technical details.
Yeah. Attention
and
to
rules.
detail.
Absolutely.
I remember, sorry to interrupt, but I remember when I wrote my first brief in law school, that was what really drove home to me how attentive to detail you have to be, down to what is italicized in a citation, all of these things. I mean, but that's at the heart of being a lawyer, is attention to detail. Anyway, sorry, go ahead. You were talking about writing the brief in the moot court competition.
Absolutely. So, as your partners on the team are kind of working on more of the, how am I going to deliver this argument in an oral advocacy manner? It's more of my role to put that into words, and so that when someone is reading it, they're really persuaded that your side or your argument as petitioner or respondent is the right result for this kind of unresolved area of law. And a lot of work goes into that.
Absolutely.
And it's mainly the brief writer's responsibility, but you do get some help from your teammates. They're kind of looking over your shoulder while you're writing this. I mean, and they can be quite lengthy. I think one that I turned in was 48 pages. So, I mean, it's quite a big project.
Well, it's also, and this because you've shined as a writer at the law school, but so much of what lawyers do today, I think a lot of people coming into law school think, I want to be an advocate, okay, and I want to stand in a courtroom and say things. And there's a place for that, but so much of what we do nowadays, it's written advocacy. And to hone those skills while in law school, as you've done, is incredibly important.
Thank you.
Incredibly important.
Thank you.
So good for you. Okay, it's just an endless list of all the things you're doing here. You're a student coach for the ABA client counseling team. What does a student coach do? First of all, what's client counseling, and what is your role as a student coach?
Client counseling is when client first walks into your office as an attorney, and they sit down at your desk, and you have no idea what their legal issue is. And you're trying to kind of pull out of them, why are you here? Can I help you with whatever it is that you have going on in kind of a short amount of time? So the ABA puts on a client counseling competition for students to be able to hone those skills, so that the first time that you're meeting with a client and trying to walk through that process isn't, your first day on the job as an associate. And I'm acting as a student coach, as you said, in this year's ABA client counseling team. So I get to come up with a lot of different hypotheticals for the oral advocates on the client counseling competition. And I write those out, and I find another willing student to kind of come in and act as our client and see if the oral advocates can pick out what exactly their legal issue is, and then turn that into solutions for them, legal and non-legal.
Yeah. Because the person who's playing the client, my understanding is, doesn't necessarily know what the legal issue is. They just have a problem. And also, don't they sort of have some information that they might withhold unless they're specifically asked about it and things? So it's up to the advocates to kind of get in there and ferret it out and all that.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. That sounds like a lot of fun. Okay. Practice court. You are not in practice court yet?
No, sir.
Okay. But I understand that you volunteered as a witness in practice court.
Yes, sir,
okay,
I
so
did.
Just for our listeners, one of the things practice court involves is simulated trials, among other things, but simulated trials, and often students will serve as the witnesses. And you served as a witness. So I'm curious about what you may have learned about practice court while you were serving as a witness, or other observations you have about that, because it's so mysterious and it's so, to those who haven't been through it, and people tend to fear it and worry about it. So what do you think?
I think I learned maybe not so much about practice court in particular through witnessing. I think I kind of learned, maybe what it looks like logistically, of what all I will need to do to find witnesses for my own big trial as I'm getting ready to graduate, and how can I prepare those other very busy law students who are doing me a favor to witness well for my big trial. And I think that that's a transferable skill in practice as well. You're going to have to prep clients to take the stand, and that can be a scary thing to do.
Yeah. I think it's also because I was taught in practice court for many years. And you sit in the courtroom as the faculty observer, and there's a lot that the students, understandably, aren't doing perfectly. But also, I had them in their first term in law school in civil procedure. I'm like, back in my mind, I'm like, these kids have come a long way. Sorry, not to say they're not all kids, but these students have come a long way in their 2.5 to 3 years of law school. Okay. So how is it that you have become this involved with this much stuff going on? I guess what I'm trying to ask is a question I often ask students. How do you balance it all? Because you've got law school, which most people would say, and I think it's true, that's more than a full-time job. And then you have these other things that no doubt are contributing to your development, your professional development, but it's a lot. So what is your advice on how you keep it all appropriately balanced, or can you not?
It's hard. It's a hard thing to be able to juggle. I look at it as this is only 3 years, and I have 3 years to grow as much as possible. And so every opportunity that comes along is an opportunity to foster that growth and to learn something that I'll carry into my career. Now, what that looks like practically, it's being very organized and blocking out, I have an hour right now, and in that hour, I'm going to build the table of contents for my moot court brief, and kind of really having a schedule, sticking to a schedule, waking up early, kind of taking advantage of some of those quieter morning hours has really been beneficial for me.
This sounds like the advice I gave you when you started law school. Do you remember?
Yes, sir.
Get up early, have a study schedule, do all that stuff. It's fantastic.
I took it to heart.
It's working out for you.
Yes, sir.
It's
well,
working
thank
out
you.
for you. I don't know if that works for everybody, but I've always found, the getting up early, this isn't for everyone. It works for me. Getting up early, there's a period of time between, I think, 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock where nobody's calling you. Mm-hmm. There are very few emails that come in. Although we have some early risers around here, and I will see emails at that time. But I think for me that helps. That helps.
Yes,
so
sir.
It works for me. I'm glad it's working for you. It's clearly working for you. Okay, we've come to the lightning round. Questions are silly. Your answers have to be short. What is your favorite coffee or tea venue in Waco?
Dichotomy.
If you could have one of these two things forever, would it be unlimited books or unlimited travel?
Unlimited travel.
Correct answer. Do you prefer a super organized closet or a perfectly organized inbox?
A closet.
Night owl or early bird? You just answered those.
Early bird.
What is your favorite way to celebrate good news?
Oh, dinner with friends.
What is one thing that never fails to cheer you up?
Calling my grandmother.
Favorite board game or card game?
Chutes and ladders.
Still?
Still.
Okay. When traveling, do you like exploring someplace new or returning to a favorite place?
Oh, someplace new.
What is a hobby you wish you had more time for?
Playing the piano.
You play the piano?
Not well.
Okay. All right, I understand you have a question or two for me.
Oh, yes. Dean Counselor, when you were in law school or in practice, did you have kind of a pump up ritual maybe before an exam or trial?
No.
Oh, no.
No, I definitely had like in law school, I definitely had a study process. But I didn't have a pump up ritual. Yeah, I'm sorry to disappoint on that question.
Okay.
I don't really have that.
That's okay, because I have another one for you.
Okay, go shoot with let's see what the other one is. Okay.
If you had to take a law school exam tomorrow, not in a class that you've taught,
Okay.
which exam would you take?
That's a great question. It's a nightmare. I wouldn't want to take any of them. I guess I would do torts.
Great.
Yeah, because I have some familiarity. I'm like some more significant practice experience in that area, so maybe some of it has stuck with me. But yeah, I would do. Do I get to study for this?
You have until tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.
Oh, then I would take the course that was the fewest credit hours, so it would do the least amount of damage to my GPA.
Very smart.
That's what I would do.
All
That's
right.
what I would do. Well, Sheldon, thank you so much. This has been fantastic, and appreciate all that you're doing at the law school, and we're proud of you. You're going to be a big success.
Thank you, Dean Counselor. I appreciate it very much.